go-home show for Takeover Stand and Deliver, so you know what that means. A lot of video packages and a champion that will not stay down. My name is Jordan Moser, and this is your NXT Recap and Review. Kick off the night, we got a match between Roderick Strong and Cameron Grimes stemming from last week. Grimes comes out and he's just flaunting and making fun of Undisputed Era and their breakup. There was a nice little logo up with his name on it for the Undisputed Era, and Roddy's incensed. He comes through and he attacks him before the start of the match, and once the match actually begins, get a nice little grappling sequence between the two until Roddy just uses those patented slaps to get in control. They eventually end up on the outside of the ring, and Grimes, being grimy as he is, he just slams Roddy into the scaffold, into the plexiglass, going into the commercial break. Coming back from break, and Grimes is still in control, but Roddy does eventually begin to find his way back, hits a nice little suplex, followed by a superplex off of the top rope for a 2 count. He just hits that forearm combo on the ropes until Cameron Grimes, he eventually gets a nice little moonsault slam for a 2 count as well. And as this happens, he begins to go in his trunks very, very nastily at that. And he pulls out a foreign object, but as he is doing that, he's hit with an Olympic slam, and Roddy sees the foreign object that Grimes pulled out, and it is an Undisputed Era armband. Oh no, and he is distracted for a good 10 seconds as one is by an object like that. Cameron Grimes hits the cave-in for the 1-2-3 and the win for CG. Cameron Grimes. This is a pretty solid match. Really good way to kick off the show. I like the finish in the sense that it gives Roddy just an idea of what he's going to do moving forward. He eventually quit later in the show. So I don't know what it's exactly going to lead to, but it's actually giving him something to do in the road after the Undisputed Era. So I'm liking it. And Cameron Grimes, he's just a pleasure to watch in the ring and his character. I hope it doesn't get old soon, because it is kind of feeling like it's wearing down. I'm like, all right, pick it back up, find something new. So yeah, just solid action, solid match between these two to kick it off. Next up, we have an open challenge from the NXT Cruiserweight Champion, one of them at least, Santos Escobar. He just comes out, he says, this is what it's going to look like, what I do to Devlin at TakeOver next week. Tyler Breeze answers the challenge. He's like, hey, I worked my butt off to get here. Let's do it, my guy. Escobar starts off fast, just going for the stomps in the corner on Breeze a lot, but there's eventually a little bit of a back and forth for a bit until Breeze firmly takes control. He takes out Legado, or the rest of Legado del Fantasma, on the outside and hits a nice kick in between the ropes as Escobar is going for a suicide dive as well to take control as we go into the commercial break. Coming back from break, and Escobar is taking over, just working over Breeze a bit more. Had a nice little vicious surfboard on Breeze during the back end of this match as well. But Breeze eventually starts to come back and continues to work on that leg of Escobar. Eventually hits a nice spine buster. Gets on the sharpshooter a la Bret Hart. Had nice black and pink and everything like that. It was a nice little touch. Escobar eventually does get to the rope to kind of break that count. And from there, it's pretty much over for Breeze. He goes for the unprettier, but he's just hit with a kick. Phantom driver by Escobar, a 1-2-3. It is a win for one of the Cruiserweight champions, Santos Escobar. The rest of Legado try to attack Breeze after the match, and this brings out MSK. They come out, and they just rip the ring. They don't brawl or nothing. They just stare at each other, and they yell and all that. And then all of a sudden, GYV, the grizzled young veterans, they end up on the screen, and they're just talking about what's going to happen at TakeOver, talking about them getting distracted, but they not distracted. They the dudes, and they're going to be soon the #1 in NXT's tag team division once they win those titles. This is a solid match. Nothing really to go home about or anything like that. Thought it went a little bit long, but it's neither here nor there. Definitely a nice little way to get all the 3 teams in one place to kind of do the little promo and their kind of lead up to the match coming next week. But yeah, solid action between Escobar and Breeze, and I can't wait for the triple threat tag team match at TakeOver. That's all I got to say about that. Next up, we have a short tag match. We got The Way, Candace, Larae, and Indy Hartwell versus Gigi, Dolan, and Zeta, Ramirez. I believe their names were. The graphic kind of disappeared really fast, so I couldn't see their names. But there's nothing really to talk about with this match. Zeta Ramirez did get a nice little hot tag in this match. She's Booker T student, AQA, who was just signed recently, so she definitely got her shine in this match, but this is over before it really started. Wicked Stepsister by Candace and Springboard Elbow from Indy. Indy ended it in about 2 to 3 minutes. And they just talking after the match. Candace is like, I should have tag team gold. I should have some sort of gold. I'm the only woman in this division who should have some sort of gold at the moment. And so they challenge Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon to a match for the women's tag team titles at Takeover. And Shotzi and Ember come out on the tank and ready and gladly accept. So they're gonna fight at night 2 of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, definitely a good way to kind of lead into that match. We saw the kind of confrontation that they had over the past couple of weeks, so we knew this was coming, but a short match, nothing to really think about at all, and just a good way to kind of lead into what's going on at Takeover in those two. Next up, we do have a match between Zoe Stark and Raquel Gonzalez. And right before this match, Io pretty much confronts Raquel and gets a butt whoop pretty much. They brawl backstage, and Dakota Kai helps Raquel just push Io into some crate, and the medics check on her and everything like that as Raquel goes out for the match. Pretty nice little sprint from her and Zoe Stark. Raquel just using that strength that she usually does early on to kind of gain control, but Stark and just that athleticism that has really come to light over the past month since she's been fighting like these bigger matches. She's just been showing that athleticism and just countering a lot of Raquel's power moves on the inside and on the outside of the ring, just pushing her into the pole. Eventually just gets rid of Dakota Kai on the outside as well, as she was trying to distract. Hit a couple nice knees in this match, very convincing knee strikes that she's really going. I'm liking her in the ring. She doesn't really have a character, but I'm really liking what Stark has done in the ring over like the past month since she's debuted. But her night didn't last really long. It's about 5 minutes in. Raquel catches her for that one arm power bomb for the 1, 2, 3 and the win for Raquel, just gaining momentum going into Takeover Stand and Deliver next week. This eventually brings Io, while she's not finished yet, she didn't take enough of a beating, so she takes another one pretty much. They brawl inside and outside the ring, and eventually Raquel just slams her into the plexiglass on the outside as she and Dakota Kai just walk away, and Io is attended to by medics again. Yeah, like I said, pretty fun sprint from Stark and Gonzalez. Definitely Stark just growing more in the ring, and Gonzalez just becoming more of a force in the ring and just gaining momentum going into Takeover Stand and Deliver next week. Io just getting her butt beat pretty much, and she keeps on coming back. I don't know why, but she keeps on coming back. So we'll see how that kind of progresses later on in the show as well. Next up, we have a beautiful, like chef's kiss, prime target, showcasing Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly coming into their unsanctioned match at night 2 of NXT Takeover. But this was beautiful, just playing on their history a lot, playing on the events over the past 2 months and how their feud has kind of progressed from here. But it was really awesome. I love their prime targets. They have killed them every single time just for big events like Takeover. So this was awesome and beautiful stuff. Can't wait for their match at night 2 for sure. Next up, we were supposed to have a tag team match, which pretty much boiled down to a handicap match. We got the KCs, Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Xia Li. Xia Li, she's holding her own for the most part and just getting worked over by the teamwork of the KCs a little bit early on. That's until we see who was supposed to be her partner, Mei Ying, just on the ramp. Kaden Carter don't like that. She goes ahead and confronts Mei Ying, and she just gets choked for her troubles, and then she blows some smoke like in Kaden Carter's face, and she just passes out. It was sleeping gas, whatever it was. But yeah, Mae Young just takes care of Carter on the outside, and that allows Xia to pretty much take control. Hits that spinning kick on Catanzaro for the 1, 2, 3 and the win in the ring. Really wasn't much of a match, kind of more so of an angle to kind of display Mei Ying and her power, I guess, her ability to choke and blow smoke in people's faces for the most part. But definitely a nice little showcase of Xia Li, and yeah, there's pretty much really nothing to say about this. I hope I see Mei Ying get in the ring one of these days, because that was what was going to be announced, what was going to happen. But it didn't happen, and that's okay. That's okay. But looking forward to her getting in the ring and kind of teaming with Xia Li and creating that force, of course. But yeah, all right stuff. Next up, we have an interview for Raquel Gonzalez, and she was just talking about the events of earlier, like, hey, I'm Io's toughest challenge. Like, I'm ready for this. You better be prepared for TakeOver. And Io shows up again, and they brawl again. And Raquel slams her, like chokes, and just throws her into the cardboard wall, and she just goes through it and lands up in the other hall. And like she tells Io to stay down because that's what she exactly needs to do, because she keep getting her butt beaten. I don't understand why she keep fighting. I don't care if you're a fighting champion, sis. Like, this is not the move. Like, it's a week before your match. Like, stop. So they just brawl again during that little short segment. This comes to a head later on in the show, which we'll get to, but Io, you need to stop, please. Next up, we have a lovely Tommaso Ciampa promo just talking about the events of last week and his upcoming NXT UK Championship match with Walter. He says the necklace that Walter took off was from his wife and his little daughter, whose name is Widow Bell. That's her name, bro. I get it now. But yeah, just a really impassioned promo by Ciampa talking about like fighting for something. He is definitely in the babyface swing with the lovely promo. I loved it. And just his aggressive side is just coming out like, hey, I'm going to show you who Blackheart is. I'm going to show you who the Psycho Killer is at night one coming at TakeOver. So yeah, this is a really impassioned just speech and promo by Ciampa, and I'm looking forward to that match probably the most on night one. So yeah, they got me hooked. I love Walter and Ciampa, so let's get it. Eliminator match come night one of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. We see Roddy, he's not in this match, so it's down to 11. Roddy quit earlier in the night, so he left. And we see even before the match kicks off, as Isaiah Swerve Scott is coming to the ring, Leon Ruff, who showed more fire here than we've ever seen him do in NXT, just comes out and attacks Scott and just stands tall. We come back from break, everybody else is in the ring, and the match kicks off. And these eliminations come in really short succession here at the beginning. We see Jake Atlas has his leg held by Malcolm Bivens on the outside, and Tyler Rust eliminates him. Tyler Rust himself is eventually eliminated by a backdrop from Isaiah Swerve Scott. We see as Austin Theory and Bronson Reed are going at it, Austin just gets booted out by Bronson Reed's backside because he's a thick boy, but he lands with his feet up. There he lands with his feet up, and so we see as he's trying to get back into the ring, he has a really bright idea. He nips up and both his feet hit the floor and he's eliminated. Like, I don't know why he thought that was going to work. It was pretty funny to see, though, not going to lie. So we're down to 8. We see Kushida and Pete Dunne have a beautiful sequence just going at it, each trying to prove that they're the best technical wrestler in the world. Eventually, Kushida gets on that hoverboard lock and they just swerve and move around and stuff like that, and they eventually both go over the top rope and are eliminated simultaneously from the Battle Royal. And Kushida still has that hoverboard lock on as well, as both are going out. It's eventually announced that those two will fight at night one of TakeOver as well, so I'm looking forward to that, both trying to prove themselves, of course. But we're down to the final 6 as we go into the commercial break. Coming back from break, and it's determined that the order in which the last 6 men are eliminated from the Battle Royal will determine their order in which they come in the Gauntlet Eliminator come next week, so it makes enough sense. We see as Ruff and Swerve are fighting on the top rope. Reed eventually comes and picks both of them off, has them on his shoulders. He throws out Ruff first, and then with another throw tosses out Swerve as well. So both Ruff and Swerve Scott will start off the Gauntlet Eliminator next week. Just a bit more infighting happens. We eventually see Reed up against the ropes and Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, just a couple of the last guys in the match. They try to throw him. And Dexter Lumis, who was in the corner doing nothing, just standing there, nobody was attacking him at all for some reason. He eventually comes through and he eliminates and helps eliminate Bronson Reed as well. So we're down to 3. Cameron Grimes tries to bribe both of the last men to just, hey, I got the money. All you gotta do is go over the top rope. That's all you gotta do. And they didn't like that. They eventually tossed Grimes. His money went everywhere. Barrett got him some chump change and all that. And it's down to LA Knight and Dexter Lumis. They eventually fight for a bit. Lumis is eventually thrown over the top rope by Knight, and Knight charges at him but goes through the middle rope, so he's not eliminated, but he thinks quick on his feet and just pulls Lumis's legs out from under him. He is eliminated, and LA Knight is declared the winner. He will enter last in the Gauntlet Eliminator match come next week. We see after the match, he's just smug. He's going up to Gargano, who was on commentary, and he's just having that back and forth with him, talking about what's going to happen next week. And after this, we do see Io Shirai again come out and demand in Japanese that Raquel Gonzalez make her presence known. And so Raquel comes out again, and we get a pull-apart brawl. Women come, referees come, and everybody like that tries to separate them and such. And this ends with Io hitting a nice plancha from the top rope to take out everybody below and the show standing tall. I'm not a big fan of pull-apart brawls. This was no different. It was actually worse than usual. We've seen like everything before this kind of work with just Raquel as his force backstage and just taking out Io. I didn't need anything with Io standing tall or a pull-apart brawl at the end of the show to really change or sway me or anything like that. So it was just not necessary in any way. But yeah, the Battle Royal was standard. It's what you expect from a Battle Royal. LA Knight, very interesting, but I would say the right choice to come out on top. With the 6 men in the match, I do have my pick as the winner, which I'll give in predictions next week and stuff like that. But yeah, I have a pretty clear idea of who's going to win this match, definitely. But yeah, just a nice little way to end the show. Not the pull apart brawl, I'm talking about the Battle Royal. But yeah, just a solid way to end off and just going into NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver coming next week. Yeah, all in all, very solid show. The action, it's really solid and throughout. It's not really nothing to like think about, or it's not any really standout action, but it's always solid all the way through. Some of the video packages and stuff like that on this show, the prime target for O'Reilly and Cole, the video packages for Karrion Kross and Finn Balor, the interview for Tommaso Ciampa, like there were a lot of great just video packages and interviews on this show that really gives the vibe of Takeover Stand and Deliver for night 1 and night 2 just coming. I am looking forward to it most definitely. But yeah, just solid show all around, just as to go home for Stand and Deliver. That is going to be it from your boy. You will see me next week. I will be covering Takeover Night 1, and Kevin will be taking over Takeover Night 2 for me, so I don't have to do things 2 nights in a row, because that's a lot. I got a life. So we're going to worry about that next week. You'll see predictions next week as well. But that's going to be it from me. I'm out. Peace. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your life. Happy Easter, everybody. It's not about eggs. It's about Jesus. Please remember that. But yeah, I got y'all around.